Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Miss Karen. It's waving my hand here. Here to talk to you about your sketchbook assignment that all levels have this week, the week of September 30th, and that is called a continuous line drawing. Now that sounds really kind of weird, but I have a couple examples of what I have done in the past. And a continuous line drawing is one in which you don't lift your pen or your crayon when you're drawing a subject. This is a continuous line drawing of a classmate of mine. And you can see what I did. I did not lift the drawing implement. You can use a marker, and I would use a Sharpie, okay, because water-based markers you'll drag your hand through it and they'll kind of leak. All right, but you can see what I'm doing here. I'm kind of creating her face and her hair through a series of continuous line, not lifting. I didn't lift my finger once. I'm just retracing what I did over here. I might have lifted it here just a little bit. There's a faint line there that you probably can't see, and then come back up here. Okay, so her face is kind of incomplete, but you get the idea that that's a portrait. And this was done from a live person a long, long time ago. And I used a China marker for this, but like a black crayon would work. All right, so the one I did as an example today is one for your sketchbook. And this one is a continuous line drawing, and I used a fine tip marker. And my subject today were apples. You can pick whatever you like. All right. And maybe you want to try to draw somebody's face. Wouldn't that be fun? So this is a little challenge for you. And you're going to sort of connect your hand and your eye and make them move together if you can. Like if there was an invisible string connected to your hand and your eye. Now this looks like shading here, but this is all close line work that I made my shadows of these apples with. Okay. All right, so like any good sketchbook assignment, I want you to make some borders or boundaries or a picture plane, or what has also been called in the art world a notional space, which means this is where you're going to put your ideas down. It's a space for you to have your ideas down. It is also a space by which your subject is going to relate to your the object. Okay, so if I were you, I would pick something super simple. It could be flowers, it could be a pumpkin. That we see a lot of those this time of year. Pumpkins, gourds. It could even be your hand in a certain position, but you have to hold your hand in that position. That's a trick. Okay. And so here's what I did. I started with one, and I'm paying attention to, like, you're going to see this from overhead. You're not going to see it from my perspective, which is a little bit of a challenge to demonstrate, but I'm just going to draw like one apple in here. So for me, I'm going to start at the bottom with what I see, the edge of the apple. And there's a little bit of a shadow here, so I'm going to kind of hang out here and make some scribbly little darker lines close together to make this one shadow. And then there's almost like a double shadow because I've got a couple of lights on here. So without lifting my pen, I'm going to make the other shadow. Now, the last time I did this, I did not focus on the shadow. I focused on the apple. So now I'm going to go down the edge of the apple, and I'm going to come around past the shadow, and I'm going to go up. And then there's a little space between this apple and the next apple from my point of view. So I'm going to go around there. Then I'm going to come up with this apple. I am not lifting my pen. I must not lift my pen. I must not lift my pen. All right. But what fun, okay? What fun this would be. All right. So here's my other apple. It's looking a little bit sad. It has some little stripes on it. You could add that if you wanted to. But I'm going to focus on the deep center where the core is. All right, and so if I want some darker lines, I can kind of go over that, but I'm still not lifting my pen. Now I'm going to go up and over to the edge of this apple and then hop over to the next apple. All right, here we go. Now this one's core is a little bit more forward, right? Because not all apples are created equal. Some of them are perfectly round, some of them are a little oblong, some of them have uneven bottoms. Here's some little markings on my apple. I'll put that in there just for fun. I don't have to. And then I'm going to come around back down here, and I'm going to look and notice that there's shadows on the table underneath this apple. So I'm going to kind of do the same thing. I'm going to make a squiggly little line in here to make the shadow. And then I notice that there's a tabletop I can see behind my apple. So I'm going to come behind this apple and I'm going to go this way. You can see where the shadow is, right? This other shadow. And by the way, I could probably fill that little shadow in with some other value, right? Continuous squiggly line to make it look like it's a value. All right, that's what I'm choosing to do. You could just leave it as a blank shadow if you wanted to, that's fine. This shadow is not quite as dark as the one that I made the first time under this apple. So I'm doing a little scribbly texture here. Okay, and then I'm going to retrace my line for the tabletop. I'm going to come around this apple, and I'm going to notice that the rest of the tabletop is somewhere over here. And that's the continuous line drawing. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that, friends. It's a chance for you to exercise a new creative muscle and a new creative way of using your drawing tools, because whatever we draw with is a tool. Right? It's a means for us to express something or to notice something or to put something down on paper. All right? So that, my friends, is this week's sketchbook assignment. I can't wait to see what you've done on Tuesday. October what? Is it October 6th? Maybe. Or October 7th. Whatever next Tuesday's date is, 2025, I will see you then. So good luck, friends, and have a great, great week. Bye for now.